And we are back once again with the ill behavior on Two Coaches and One Grizz. We've got some little UFC talk. We got that bracketology that we've been, promising for the past couple weeks. But we begin with the quarterbacks, the kings of the NFL. And speaking of kings, Aaron Rodgers with the King's ransom on his deal. And Grizz, would you like to do the honors? He's back. Coach, talk to us.
The GOAT. The GOAT wants another bite at the apple. 1 month away. Not even a month. I don't think he's been gone for a month. He was like, all right, babe, kids, listen, I'll be here for all summer, guys. I'll be here all summer. We're good. I can't leave Tampa Bay hanging like that. There's more things to be done here.
There's more. There's less quarterbacks in the NFC to deal with. That's why he's like, wait a minute, let me get my schedule open up. I gotta only go against Aaron Rodgers. Done that already. A couple times. He's easy. Nobody else.
Dallas will find a way to screw things up.
Of course, they self-destruct all the time. Who else? Drew Brees is gone. Oh, that would happen a long time ago. Nobody's in the NFC anymore.
Russ is out of town.
Russ left. The AFC kill each other. By the time you get to me, I'll be rested, relaxed, and ready to go. I love it.
Listen, it's amazing to me. Like, you kind of saw the writing on the walls, right? Like,
I've never been less surprised in my life, bro.
It's hilarious, right? The MLB lockout was like 89 days long or something like that. And Aaron Rodgers was retired, or not Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady was retired for a total of
Aaron
like 40,
was almost retired.
42 days. His retirement was shorter than the MLB lockout.
Aaron Rodgers probably retired the Green Bay Packers' future, but
yeah. But you know what? No, we'll talk about that in a minute. But in all sincerity, though, I think that Tom may have tried to play the retirement game to then try to see if he could go somewhere else. But
he was
Tampa
maybe
Bay,
fishing for San Fran.
Correct. And Tampa Bay said, oh, no. We hold your contract. You're not going anywhere. You want to come back? Come. Doors are open. Well, we're ready for you, and we'll figure things out.
I mean, the timing was impeccable, right? Like, a lot of their pending contracts and situations, were hanging in the balance on this situation.
They'll probably still let him go to San Fran. It's just going to cost 3 or 4 first-round draft picks.
But no, because if you look alternate universe, he stays retired. Their center probably signs somewhere else, right? A couple other guys probably
they just picked up a guard from the Patriots.
Right.
They just traded a 5th round for a guard for the Patriots. So again, they are getting the O-line right, because that was where some of the hits were going to come.
Right.
Were with the O-line. They should have the receivers should be back by the fall. Mm-hmm. So everything should be in place for them to make that run. Their defense would be healthy and moving forwards. So all the pieces are there for him to come right back into the driver's seat, and NFC Championship, here we come.
Well, they're a 12-5 team at minimum.
Well, listen, and this announcement was done right up on the precipice of free agency, right? And again, their team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that decision was hanging in the balance, right? For what their team was going to look like, right?
Yeah,
Ryan Jensen, their center, right? He was up for a new contract. Brady doesn't come back. He probably signs somewhere else. Think the Bengals, who needed offensive line help. Look at alternate universe. Him coming back and announcing that and confirming it probably secures 3 or 4 of their.
If he does make his comeback, and he has to make it that Sunday because of all the things you're saying.
Correct.
So not only, he comes back and he doesn't even do it in a bad way, because he did it with enough time so that they're good for their draft. Now they don't have to worry about maybe getting a quarterback. They can sign all their players. So even when Brady unretires, he does it better than other people. So it's just, the guy's a GOAT.
But I do believe that the Tampa Bay brass had a good feeling about it, because they kept saying, no, the door's open. We're not in a hurry.
They played
his rights.
We're good,
and they're not gonna unretire and let you just walk somewhere else.
They played their cards right, and and all the signs and symptoms around the situation, it felt like this was going to happen.
However,
listen, that playoff loss. Okay, he did not look. He's not done. He doesn't look done. You see the quarterbacks
5,000 yards.
That's what I'm saying. He was the runner-up.
One of his best seasons ever.
He was the runner-up in the MVP voting.
here's the thing also. It's like, you don't make that kind of decision. People have told you over and over, don't make that kind of decision. Basically, when you make the decision of retirement, it's like now.
Now, correct.
So he did it too early. He had the month and a half to like look back and go, I'm not done yet.
He marinated.
And also, it was a bunch of BS. All this that him and Arians weren't getting along. I'm like, the guy got you a Super Bowl year one. I'm pretty sure you're
and it's
and year two he throws for over 5,000.
Well, throws for 5. I don't think there's
you go 12 and 5.
I think that's more smoke for maybe trying to get sent to another team.
Correct.
But I think that might be like agents or other people. I don't think Tom Brady and him had a problem as is coming back.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, right? Tom Brady doesn't come back. And, we have our producer looking it up now. But Gronk probably doesn't come back. Fournette probably doesn't come back. So you're locking in all these guys that helped you get to a Super Bowl and help you make 2 consecutive playoff runs. Again, going back to it, nothing about the situation, the circumstances that surrounded his retirement felt finite. It was even his retirement posts on social media. He didn't thank the 20-plus years of Patriots players and employees.
Right. I mean, he did. He did mention the Patriots or what have you. But I think it was more like the Grizz just said a few minutes ago. It was a very knee-jerk reaction. Right after they lost, a very down time as an athlete. Yeah. He was, maybe I am done. Maybe this is over. I need to focus on this or that. And now after a month and a half, he's kind of like, look, I mean, I can still go to the family. The offense is already the offense. I know. We already run this. It's not an issue. I don't have to learn anything. I don't have to put in extra time. I work out. I stay in shape the way he usually does. So it's not
another thing. He says he needs to be 365 ready mentally for football. The thing is, if he makes this decision in June, he's behind the 8 ball a lot. So he's still got all the time in the world to get himself ready for the next season. And the thing also is that, Brady, he's a machine. This is the first time he went through that. Like you said, the first time he had to say things. So he did it. Like I said, he did the unretirement right. Maybe he did because once again, if he says nothing, Rodgers did it this week, right? Saying he's going to stay and sign. He took his time, after a tough loss against the Niners. He did toy. But hey, he got what he wanted. At the end of the day, that guy's, he did. Now I think we should just catch up on the fact that this guy is going to be making $150 million for the next 3 years. Highest paid ever.
Well, yes and no. Because he only counts as $28 million towards the cap.
This year.
His numbers come down. No, his numbers are going to, it's a situation where a lot of his money is roster bonus money. So it doesn't
is it as bad as you originally thought?
No, not at all.
It's not.
That's why if you take a look at the contract, technically speaking, and I air quotes, it's a 5-year deal for $187 million, give or take. However, the last 2 years are pretty much voidable years. They don't really count. It'll be 42, 59, and 49.3 will be the 3 years.
Which I think those would be the years he's already on his down.
Those are the 3 years.
Like I told you last week, I think he's got 2 to 3 years.
But
left.
again, since it's a 5-year contract, it's a cap hit for $28 million. So it helps the team. It allows them to sign Devontae. It allows them to do all of those things. And again, yes, he does become the highest paid guy.
So win-win then.
Yeah, it is a win-win. Now, even though it is a win-win, now it does catapult the quarterback price.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm glad that
get ready for Watson when he gets to.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because there's a reason why they did this, and why you're going to see the quarterback numbers go up in 2023-24. Okay, those new TV deal monies are going to be coming in. Okay, and the salary cap in the NFL is expected to skyrocket. So when we were talking about last week about the percentage of the cap that quarterbacks are taking up, it's actually going to decrease.
They're not skyrocketing now because Jacksonville's spending money like it's water.
Yeah, but they're also a Pop Warner team.
But they're still they're signing guys to contracts that really you're like, who?
Right, but again, look at the long-term implications of the deals that are going to start getting done. Right, the salary cap is going to pop. It's going to boom in the next couple of years. So that's going to give more space, right? So that's why you see these deals. They're going to start getting prorated to those couple years down the line.
2 years from now, Rodgers' contract's
it'll be a minuscule. It'll be a minuscule.
So on raw numbers wise, $50 million. Holy crap, right? But when you look at the salary cap potentially being $250 million,
do you know what his base salary is for next year? Like $1.6 million.
Right,
because he's getting a 40.
Yeah, because the
roster bonus.
Signing bonus is going to be stupid.
It's the roster bonus.
Right.
Yeah. And no matter how you slice it, as long as you get paid, man, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
So if they can rework numbers and it's legit,
right,
and it can be done, by all means, do it.
Correct. And that was my biggest concern was that they were going to break the bank, and you have no team. So I mean, if you can break the bank and still have leftover. Okay, now, go for it. Figure it out. It's
now all of a sudden you see Pat Mahomes again. Salary cap goes up. Watch out in a couple years because that deal is going to look really, really good in retrospect.
He's going to have to,
and they're going to hoard talent.
He's going to have to win though. He's going to have to
100%.
Put up more.
100%.
His numbers have to be better, and he has to be better.
That's the problem, though.
Down the stretch.
All these people are getting paid mad money. Only one guy can win. So all the other ones that are getting paid mad money. Oh, you're overpaid. But that's just how it is. Everybody's going to be overpaid, man, and only one can win.
Stay tuned. We're looking at $250 million salary cap in the next couple of years. And all that's going to do is inflate the salaries that we're going to see. Because you got to look at it percentage-wise and not raw
Quarterbacks
numbers.
are going to be making $5 million per game.
Right. Again,
right now,
you got to look at
$2
it
to $3 million
percentage-wise.
a game. That's incredible. A game?
Remember that salary?
$1 million a quarter.
Why do you think Cap all of a sudden, Kaepernick is saying, hey, I'm available again, guys. Guys, I'm back. Hey, anybody want to play catch?
Get ready.
I'm good. I can play catch.
I can hold the clipboard with the best of them, baby.
Let me know where to roll up. That friggin' bum.
Get ready for the $10 to $15 million
he's still better than
backup
a lot
quarterback.
of second quarterbacks.
That's all right. He can hold a clipboard at a high school.
He
bum.
can still be better than second quarterbacks.
Super Bowl.
Bum.
Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Super Bowl.
Appearance.
Moving along.
Moving right along.
To another embattled quarterback. Okay.
Which I take this guy 1,000 times over that guy.
Okay. Deshaun Watson back in the news. He was cleared of all criminal charges. All right. They're still going to be.
He will not be charged. He will not be charged.
Yeah. He will not be charged in the criminal court.
Criminally, correct.
He could be liable civilly.
However, everybody and their mother believes that there will be massive civil case court cases.
Looking into this,
Of course, he needs to pay off a lot of women.
Looking into this, though, that was one of the key things that Ross wanted. He wanted all of those suits settled, and the hang-up was that 18 of them had said yes, and there were four that were still saying no, we want our tournament. So that can be that could still be an issue going forward for him.
You look at it, Coach. That's a class action lawsuit.
Here's the thing.
Yeah. That might cost him $100 million.
Ask OJ.
Oh, it's going to cost him.
Ask OJ. OJ was found in it. The glove didn't fit, and he still.
The guy's gonna be paying alimony to 20 women or 25 women.
It's millions and millions of dollars. And again, and it's funny because, I think we've talked about it before, and this was what was so surprising about him, that he's always been such a high character guy. All the NFL guys talk about it. All the college coaches. He's always been a high character guy, great in the community. So that's why it's like so shocking that this is occurred.
Everybody's got a vice, Coach.
I guess, but God bless.
Some people like their rear end massaged.
But 22 different rear end massages, that's a lot of rear end massages.
Variety, Coach.
You know, they always say 1, maybe 2, maybe, but 22, there's some smoke.
I mean, even Robert, even Kraft only went to one. Yeah. Asian massage parlor. He got caught with
allegedly.
Allegedly, no, he was there.
Allegedly,
no, he was there.
Allegedly,
he got away with it, but he was there.
It's like the Trump PP tape.
He was there, but what he did was allegedly.
I mean, good for goodness sakes, 22.
Guy just went in for a massage, man. He was feeling a little tight.
Listen,
22.
Bottom line,
he had a knot in his neck.
I guess a neck. That's not his neck. Yeah. I thought you said buttocks. I'm confused now.
Are we talking about Kraft or are we talking about?
No.
Who knows?
Were we talking about Watson?
Right. But you also brought in Kraft.
Well, because I said he only went. I mean, he only got one.
I'm just saying.
He had his regular
not
place.
In neck for Kraft.
Two people that couldn't be farther apart from each other.
He had his regular place to go to. Okay, it is what it is.
Listen, the bottom line is I think the worst of it has happened for Watson. I don't think he's going to be like liable for that much money. And I think teams are willing to trade for him now, not worried at all about anything. 6 games, all right, we'll take 6 games of suspension because you're still 25, I think, 26. The guy's still got a decade worth of being a great quarterback, which you can't find them. Someone's going to do it. The Panthers, I hear, are aggressive.
And he's a champ. And again, he is a bona fide championship quality quarterback.
He's got all the tools. He checks off all the boxes.
So
it's just the character part we thought was the biggest check mark ends up being the one that we're now like, okay, are we worried about him going to New Orleans and what the craziness happens there?
Do you give him a walking buddy? I mean, how does that work?
Listen,
you're going to have a chaperone.
I have several thoughts on this situation. Number one, there's nobody that can convince me otherwise that the Texans, whether there's truth to these allegations or not, okay, nobody can convince me otherwise that the Texans didn't just conveniently, coincidentally time the release of this information perfectly.
Listen, conspiracy boy,
I'm just saying.
Calm down. It had nothing to do with the Texans. The Texans are shooting themselves in the foot.
Oh, so he's talking about trying to force a trade, and then within 48 hours, all of a sudden we got masseuses coming out of the woodworks.
And then it multiplied to 22 of them. So again, if it's a conspiracy, 2 or 3. 2 or 3. 2 or 3 are conspiracy. They're on the take, and they're there. Oh yeah, he maybe touched his butt.
The Texans had anything to do about it, we'll find out in 22.
Okay.
Chances.
Now, with that being said, if they're forcing a trade, he's forcing a trade. Quarterbacks have forced trades here. I mean, heck, Harden from the NBA has.
Why would you want to make?
How many NBA trades has he forced?
Hold on. If you want to force a trade, if you want to get rid of a player, why would you say he's touched 22 women?
Well, they didn't
and made
want
your trade value go down.
Well, what he's trying to say is that they didn't want to do that. So
right, they
don't want to do that. We're still not going to put him out as being.
They were suppressing his trade value. Come hell or high water, they were going to keep him.
But my contention to that is this:
that guy will never play for you.
The guy's saying, "I'm not playing for you anymore. I'm done. I'm done playing here." Okay, you have to trade him. Why would you devalue him and get less than what you can possibly get? Because look, now he's got the civil suit is gone. I mean, the criminal charges are gone. He only has civil suits pending. Okay. Now, if by devaluing him, now they're gonna try to shortchange you. They're gonna try to lowball you. Only a certain teams are gonna go above and beyond.
Okay. The lack of organizational control for the Texans is well documented.
Oh, they're terrible at this.
They're from top to bottom.
That's why they wouldn't be good at like doing something that you're saying they would be doing.
Second thing.
However, when they were not good from top to bottom, remember they had Bill O'Brien there. He was their de facto GM. He was the head coach as well. So those things are gone.
I'm talking about front office and the issues.
He was
cultural issues that they had.
He was part of that situation.
Right.
The guy's still warranting 3 first rounds with all this. Can you imagine if the guy had nothing and he wanted to get a trade? They could probably get 4 easy.
Herschel Walker times 5.
My God, they could get a whole. They could have a whole new team.
That's why I don't believe that.
I don't think
that wonderful conspiracy theory yours. I think it goes out the window.
I'm just saying it was too conveniently timed. It was just perfect timing.
Right. Sounds good.
But anyway, moving along. My second thought is yes, he warrants a king's ransom in that trade. Okay, but athletically, yes. Sports-wise, it makes all the sense in the world. The guy is a bona fide talent. He's a proven champion. He has all the tools, especially as he gets older. He's proven that he can operate from the pocket when he slows down, okay? However, it has to be, I don't agree completely with the Grizz's points there about what team wouldn't want him. It has to be the right team. Because even though it makes sense in all the right athletic senses and team senses, it may not make sense for certain teams perception-wise, organizational-wise. It needs to be the right organization that can handle the media backlash and the perception backlash. That's up to him, though,
unfortunately, because he's the one that determines who's going to get traded.
Correct. He's the one that now is going to say yes or no.
Correct.
So the ball is in his court.
If you tell me Steelers, they can handle that.
They got their quarterback.
I understand. I'm just saying.
Mitch Trubisky.
I'm just saying. If you tell me an organization like the Steelers, okay?
But I'm not.
I understand. I'm just saying the way that their organization works.
Okay, but
if you're telling me the Cleveland Browns
had a quarterback that liked to touch ladies, and they had to deal with that.
Right.
So.
If you're telling me
Harry went through a 6-game suspension.
Right. The Cleveland Browns, right? That's something that might be a dumpster fire because they may not be able to handle that heat.
Because listen, at the end of the day, when you take a look at half of the NFL is dysfunctional. Only half of it, if that, is really well run and well taken care of. So you're talking about only 8 teams. So you got to take out 8 teams out of the equation. Which 8 teams are you looking at? Which 8 teams is he willing to go to? Don't forget, brother, that's all semantics. It's not about, this front office is great. No. He's the one who needs to make the change. He's the one that now needs to make sure going forwards, he knows what he can and cannot do. And he needs to stay on the up and up.
He can never have anything happen with
stand by my point.
Ever again.
Okay? Look at the Saints. The Saints, yes, very experienced head coach. They've been through the fire. They've dealt with controversies before.
Well, it's a new head coach. He is experienced, but it's a new head coach.
Right, but I'm saying that organizational-wise, they've gone through those
Personally,
type of
he'd rather go to the Saints is what I'm hearing too, so.
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers potential is great, but now they potentially have CMC on the trade block.
And here's the other problem with these. These are those 2 teams specifically, they're not that good, right? They're sort of okay.
Well, okay.
But my point is, here's the problem. You're giving up a ton of stuff to get this one guy from already depleted teams. So
But the Saints Saints do have the talent, though.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think he would rather go to the Saints, because he's looking at it. I got to go to a team that when they get rid of stuff, I still have a chance.
Well, but they're only going to listen. They're going to get and listen. Let's not forget when you're talking about first round draft choices. Okay, it sounds my God.
Here, you're a 50-50 proposition at best.
That's exactly it. Unless you have someone who does really, really well, and we always go back to the Herschel Walker and Dallas Cowboy trade. Jimmy did a great job with the drafts. He did a great job.
You can pick amazing second rounders. I get it.
And he parlayed some of those draft choices into other draft choices. So that trade multiplied itself.
Correct.
So just because we talk about first rounders, again,
we're talking about the hauls that they.
Right,
but still, at the end of the day, that's what these people want.
But with free agency nowadays, and the way the market is, you can build a great team without draft choices. And the Rams have been proving that. The Rams have been competitive every year, even without draft choices. I mean, they just needed they needed the quarterback that could throw the ball to certain, and they found him. Stafford, as bad as Stafford could be in certain games, he was able to play at the level that they needed him to. They got the defense. And that, in today's football, free agency changes the whole,
of course.
The whole
it's
landscape
just as important
of draft choices.
But I still think having enough draft, you're gonna need both. You're gonna, yes. What Frankie said, the Rams will suffer later. Will probably be true unless down the road they will make trades of their own to get back some of those draft picks. But I mean, at the end of the day, I need a good amount of picks to pick. I think the draft is still important enough that if you get the right picks, you're going to win.
It is. But when you're trading,
the right guy picking them.
Right. But when you're trading away, when you're trading or you're getting a quarterback, which is in today's NFL is the number one position. Gold. When you're getting that guy, you're willing to trade 3 number ones. Because Miami has gone through 3 number ones, hasn't gotten a quarterback. There's teams that we can go through.
If I get a Deshaun Watson, and the problem is not knowing. But if I have a feeling that he's not going to get in any more trouble, and obviously injuries I'll give 5 first rounders for this guy. I don't care. Because that guy, I'm set for a decade. I'm not worried.
There's not many individuals that can stem the tide of an organization while they have to,
can play the quarterback position. Who can play the quarterback position? Who can move? Who's mobile? Who's got a gun? You're getting a guy, like I said earlier, he's a championship quality quarterback. The only situation now is going forward. Again, it becomes on him. What do I want my legacy to be?
Not a lot of guys get this kind of second chance.
He used the Lord's name the other day. He thanked God that He's given him this opportunity. God willing, going forward, he does it right by God and does the things that he needs to do with his God-given abilities and stays out of that situation.
Yeah, because I mean, it's crazy. Like you said, like you mentioned earlier, this guy was a ironclad character individual before this popped off, and there were no rumblings of anything before this as well. So I'm not going to say it's an isolated incident because
because it was 22 dominoes.
Oh, it was only an isolated 22 times.
And sadly, with these incidents, it's usually like that. It takes one or two people to come out, and then all of a sudden, woof.
Right, then you have everybody jumping on the bandwagon.
It was isolated to just massage therapists, right? He had a specialty.
You're going down that road.
No, but he had a specialty.
His genre was very specific.
We didn't have
as Mr. Morales said.
He didn't have problems with the local waitress.
We all have our vices.
He didn't have a problem with the lady that works at the barbecue restaurant there. He had it specifically with massage.
I still say
consistency at least is key.
At least Robert Kraft went to the right place. But listen, again, I just hope that everything turns out well for him. I do like him. I think he's always been a tremendous guy as far as I'm concerned. At Clemson, did a great job there. Was always
Dabo said he was like
super
the Michael
positive
Jordan,
guy,
man, of the NFL.
Super positive guy. He's always been a great role model. So that's another thing. Seeing him or being caught up in this situation, tarnishes the role model for him and that he's needed. He's needed as a young role model.
There have been many of individuals that we've come to revere in the NFL and in sports in general that had controversies, at this magnitude. And again, it's well documented. We talk about Ray Lewis for one. Okay, that's one. Ben Roethlisberger, another one.
But you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you, man.
Greatness I think gets swept on it. Like the greatness kind of sweeps that stuff under the rug.
To me, this young man, because of the position that he plays, because he was in the spotlight for so many years in college, went to the pros, was so successful in the pros, I think he dwarfs those guys. Because Big Ben came from Miami of Ohio. Nobody knew Big Ben.
I agree with you.
Nobody had a clue who Big Ben was. Ray Lewis, as great as he was a middle linebacker. Yeah, he was phenomenal, but only like guys like us knew him. It was
you're right. 100%.
You get to see Deshaun Watson since he's an 18, 19-year-old guy at Clemson fighting Alabama, taking down the huge monster of Alabama. Great games, great finish. One game, the one he won the national championship. What a game he had. Again,
play to Renfro.
You just see so many things with him. So he's on a different level. He's on a pedestal. To all of a sudden get knocked off of it like that, he has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it was very surprising to hear him linked up with all this. That's not the kind of name I thought I'd hear.
So like I said, to me, he has he has a lot of steps to go forward.
When it's all said and done, where do you guys see him landing? Maybe he's got the no trade clause.
Right now, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I do lean towards the Saints. I do think the Saints would be a great situation, but New Orleans is such that town, the city. That's a real difficult town. That's another Las Vegas type of deal now. There's a lot of nightlife there. There's a lot of different things. So a lot of different massage parlors. I mean, there's just a lot there.
He was almost coming here, so I mean.
No, I don't speak from experience. I mean, I've been there.
If he would have came to Miami,
I'm concerned with that.
If he would have came to Miami, similar issues.
See, that's why to me, a Carolina, as much as you say, I think Carolina is a great fresh start. It's a school it's a team in the South where his popularity is still.
He's God.
He's from that area.
Exactly.
He's God there.
So his popularity there, and it's a smaller area. The vices are, even though vices are everywhere. Let's not try to, but it is a more laid back area. It's not the same as New Orleans. Yeah. It's a different ball game. So to me, that would be the better place.
Houston is a pretty decent sized city, and there's
it's a big city.
There's entertainment out there. Maybe it doesn't warrant like name value New Orleans, but I'm saying like I don't think wherever he goes, like you said, there's vices everywhere. He needs to know it doesn't matter where he goes.
It has to be on him.
You make this mistake again, you're X'd,
no,
man.
You're done.
You know what I'm saying? Because
and you're done in more ways than one.
Even if it ends up being not real that time, it's just that this perception will keep happening, and you've been given the ultimate second chance. I mean, you wrap up those 22 cases all in one thing, basically. Because if this was spread out, we could be here for years. So get your stuff together.
Yes.
And
get yourself together.
Get yourself together, and wherever you go, which
right.
I think it'll end up being the Saints, if that's where he wants to go, and they have the capital to send them over there. I mean, plus get them out of the conference. You send them to the NFC, which the Panthers will be good too. But if that's where he wants to go, and that's where it's looking right now, that's all we know. New Orleans.
Oof, an NFC South with Brady and him in that division, that'll be fireworks.
That'll be nice.
All right, gentlemen. Soon to be, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens
in the next few weeks. We'll know.
All right. So more to come on that situation. We're going to be right back with some UFC recap. And we're back to talk a little UFC. We're going to recap last weekend's fight night and talk a little bit about a little preview for this weekend's fight night. Coach, take it away.
I just wanted to go over the 3 fights that we had mentioned last week. The Drew Dober against Terrence McKinney. McKinney was not present at all. He got his block got knocked off. Dober just destroyed him. McKinney started out well. It looked like he was going to do something, but Dober was able to come back and just take his lights out. So again, that's a good win for him. He's going to be up and coming now. Solid fighter. I expect McKinney to bounce back. He is a good fighter. I just think that he got too overconfident and got caught up in that situation. The other fight that we talked about was Sodiq Yusuff against Alex Caceres. Alex Caceres put up he's a decent grappler, not a very good fighter in all the terms. And Yusuff was able to win the decision. That's another young man that has had a few tougher fights, lost here and there. But I think if he puts it all together, he's a guy that we can look at to win championships. And the last fight that we talked about was the main event was Thiago Santos versus Ankalaev. And again, Ankalaev showed his superiority, the ring control. He was able to fight standing up, which was something that Santos is really good at. And then as a fight progressed, he was able to take down Thiago, who, by the way, was a former champion, was in the upper echelon, and is now on the way down. He is getting old. And Ankalaev, I believe, is going to be the next champion. That's a very weak division now. It used to be Bones Jones' division. It used to be a strong division, but now it's gotten somewhat softer. The champion is Glover Teixeira. I like him. He's a great guy. He's an older gentleman. Great wrestler. Amazing guy for his age to be able to do the things that he does, the output that he has, the way he fights. But I do think that Magomed is going to beat him. Magomed will take him going forwards as soon as they give him a chance. He may have to fight Jan Blachowicz for that opportunity. We'll see. I don't know when he's going to fight again. He might get a rematch with Glover. So we'll see whoever wins out of those two if they give Ankalaev an opportunity.
I want to touch on Ankalaev for a second. It's becoming more and more apparent that the pedigree of these fighters coming from Eastern Europe, okay, they're just a different breed. Like
that again, and it used to be like that for Brazilians. It was
right,
a very Brazilian dominated sport. Now Kazakhstan, where Nurmagomedov is from, Khabib is producing a lot of these hardcore wrestling guys.
Yeah, it's going to be his own. It's going to be just Khabib, the country of Khabib, eventually in the UFC. That's it.
So they're doing a great job, and they're all young.
Yes,
they're all in their mid-20s.
There's going to be for a while.
It's kind of scary. It really is scary what they're doing.
And do you think that the rise of Khabib has a lot to do with that? Like that those fighters from that region are getting more exposure post Khabib?
I'm going to be honest with you. That's one thing that I commend Dana White on. Dana White has done an incredible job of going around the world, finding these fighters, promoting his product to these areas all over the world to where these guys see this as an opportunity for success, to make money, to move forwards. And Khabib's success was the entrance for these other gentlemen to come through, but it was inevitable. Mm-hmm. It was inevitable, and again, no one imagined that Khabib would be the machine that he was or he is, because again, he's
and now
he's
that he is though, now that he is,
he's a great.
All these people have looked up to him, and then when you get the kind of training that he got, and I'm sure he himself is a great
passing it down to them, and what he teaches them in the wrestling, it just changes the dynamics.
What
of
I
the
like
sport.
about him, he's a guy of honor.
Correct.
He's a very honorable guy.
Yes.
A very respectful.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He retired early. He's the kind of guy.
He retired out of respect for his mother.
He's not a Brady coming back. No. You know, he retired out of respect for his mother. He's content. And now what he wants to do is to give back to these younger fighters and to create mini Khabibs. It's a
stable of fighters that is scary. Yeah. It really is.
It really is. They are, in the truest sense, they're facsimiles of him.
He might go down in the future more for his tree of fighters and his coaching tree than his own.
It's a complete legacy.
Yeah,
and we
definitely a legacy.
We compare it to the boxing when the heyday of boxing here, where the Angelo Dundees and those magical trainers had 5, 6, 7 guys that were all world championship caliber fighters. He's gonna be that in the MMA and the UFC.
And what you said earlier about White is true. That guy, to do what he's done to the sport, this is a 365, 24/7 sport now. Every week, you got something on the UFC. It doesn't matter. Like, it's in your, this league takes the time off. They're on every week. It does not matter.
No, and he's got fight nights.
Like you said, they were the ones that came back from the pandemic. We're going to give you a show.
They were putting on shows. He's just, again, the value that company has got to earn. And again, don't forget, he's technically not the owner anymore.
Yeah, he sold.
He sold it for I don't know how many.
$4 billion, I believe.
$1 billion. Okay? So he's making money being the promoter.
The people that own it know.
The CEO, whatever you want to call it.
People that own it know what the money is with this guy.
Agreed.
Yeah, listen, we're going to look back on history because it's already blown up. It is mainstream right now. There's no going back.
It's dwarfed boxing.
Right.
Boxing no longer has a seat at that table.
You saw it rising before the pandemic, but his decision to say, screw everybody, I'm going to do this because I have people, and his reasoning.
And we're going to do it right.
No,
we're going to do it right.
And his reasoning, when you listen to him speak, whatever his views politically are, his reasoning was, I have people that I need to feed in this organization. And we're going to go, it may be the wrong decision, but I'm going to live with it.
But we're going to do it right. And we're going to do it right. And we're going to take all the precautions that we need to take.
Their testing was stringent.
It was incredible.
And his decision to do that is what catapulted them into the different stratosphere that they are now.
It just opened up a whole different viewership.
Correct. Because there was nothing on. There was nothing on.
It was that or darts.
Fight Island, baby.
Darts, not even Korean baseball, because Korean baseball went down the drain. It was darts and Fight Island. Yeah, it was horrible.
So his decision...
I miss waking up at 3:30 in the morning to catch Boog call a game.
You remember that one, huh? I got one
for
you.
The Giants from Tokyo.
It's a case study in, business, right?
Correct.
Despite what it is, yes, it's a sport and there's more eyes, but it is a case study in business management and operations.
So again, that's why I say that he's globalized it. He's put it on a global level.
Correct.
And he's enjoying the fruits of that labor. And these guys now are coming over here. They're tremendous athletes, great wrestlers, and it's now elevating the game. Because if you fight them for a championship, you better come right.
Correct.
And you better dominate as a fighter and a wrestler. You better have good wrestling skills. Otherwise, it's all over.
Yeah, no, again, amazing that this is, and you're going to start to see those athletes that would stick with other sports and you're going to start to see those elites, they're going to start flowing more and more and more into the sport.
Well, again, and the paydays will be getting bigger because of more
TV
viewership
money,
and pay-per-view and things like that. And speaking of what the Grizz just mentioned, this Friday there is another fight night. It's got 3 good fights on the undercard. two good fights on the undercard. One of them is Gunnar Nelson against Sato. Both guys have fought good fighters. Gunnar has lost his last 2 or 3 fights, but it's all been against top quality people. It's nothing that's been easy or up and comers.
Right.
He's a 4-1 favorite.
They're both experienced fighters.
Correct.
17-5, and
16 and 4
versus 16-4. So
again, that's going to be a tremendous fight. I think that's going to be one of the better fights of the night. The other one I also like is going to be Dan Hooker. I guess I'm on a Hooker trend tonight.
Jesus.
But it's Dan Hooker and Arnold Allen. Those two guys are fighting. To be quite honest with you, I like Hooker a lot. I think Dan is going to put up a great fight. He has a length advantage and a height advantage.
Yeah, he's under his belt.
He's a little bit of an underdog. And if you take a look at the guys that he's lost to, they're all championship quality fighters. He's lost 3 or 4 fights that have been to the likes of Makachev, Hasparat. He beat Hasparat, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier. I mean, he's not losing to ducks. He's losing to the upper cream of fighters at that division.
No reason to hold your head down.
So I like him as an underdog.
Who's the betting favorite?
Allen is. Allen's at minus. It's not a huge betting favorite. It's at minus 120.
Right.
But if you can get Dan Hooker at even money or plus money, I think that's a good play.
So this Hooker's not going to cost me much.
It should no, and you might get back the right dividends.
Oh, nice.
What? Just an aside. Wow. Okay, refocus. Just an aside, just a
little levity, guys. A little levity.
We're gonna.
Just wanted to find out the amount.
I'll try to tell you. It's even money, kid. Right, even money. Good. It sounds good.
We're gonna get the trains back on the rails here.
They never left.
Just an aside for entertainment value alone. Paddy Pimblett might be.
Yeah, you like that one. I knew that name was going to catch.
He might be one of my favorite characters right now in the UFC.
Who's this?
When you have a chance, go look up some videos of that guy.
What's his name again?
Grizz, he's right out of a movie.
Okay.
I can't even.
My third time asking the question. What's his name again?
Paddy Pimblett.
There you go. Pimblett.
And he's a 4-1 favorite, by the way. He's a 4-1 favorite.
I've seen this guy. He's a character.
He's a character.
He's a character.
With the Irish accent and all, it is.
Yeah.
It's.
He's a good fighter. He's a heck of a fighter.
Good stuff.
But again, I don't think the guy he's fighting. I don't think it's going to be much of a challenge. And by the way, the Gunnar Nelson is a 4-1 favorite, but I just think the other guy is going to give him a good fight. Just because a lot of these Asian fighters come in and they're so tough. They're very, very tough.
Very disciplined.
Exactly.
Listen, anything can happen in that octagon, man.
Correct.
We've seen it before. It's going to continue to happen. You know, those fights, that's why it's so fun. Like, it's fireworks all night long.
Even the worst fight is a great fight.
And even when you don't know the name or who they are, they don't come in with cachet. That's sometimes even better because they're coming to make a name for themselves and, no pun intended here, but swing for the fences. So it's going to be fun to see. I'm going to be interested. Tune in. That's going to be some fun times. Okay? And, quick segue here. Baseball's back. Okay, we're done. All right? We'll be right back with our special Bracketology segment to close up the night. And we are back with our much anticipated Bracketology session. Okay? So here's how it's going to work. Each one of us on the show here, including our producer AC, picked a region. Okay, and we're going to pick it all the way up to the Elite Eight. Okay, and then we're going to discuss. Now, first, up to the mic would be Mr. Grizz. And Grizz, talk to us. What region you have and who you going with?
Well, I'm going, I think, with which we'll talk about this in a few minutes, obviously, but I think the eventual champions region. I have Gonzaga winning their first round against Georgia State. I have them meeting Memphis in the next round. I'll then have Connecticut. They're my dark horse, one of the teams that I think can make a run. The only problem is they're 5 seed, and we all know about 5-12s, but I still think Connecticut will take that. Arkansas and Vermont this is one of my upsets. Even though I like Arkansas, they were also a team that was a dark horse to me. I think, Vermont, always those pesky, cheeseheads up there, always looking, they're always winning their conference. And they only show up in the NCAA. You'll never hear from them ever, other than this time. So we're going with Vermont. That's one of my upsets. Then for the next game, Alabama will play the play-in of the Rutgers Notre Dame. I don't care who wins that game. That team will beat Alabama. They've had a couple games at the end of the year that they look sloppy. They had big wins early in the year. I know they beat Gonzaga. I think they also beat Auburn maybe or Kentucky. But I know they have big wins this year against top teams. You have Rutgers, Notre Dame going on there. Then I got Texas Tech winning against Middle Tennessee.
No, Montana State.
Montana State. Sorry, MTST. They all look the same to me. I apologize to you guys out there, Montana. Then we have the next game would be Michigan State against Davidson. I'm going with Michigan State only because I want to see the next matchup, which would be Duke against Cal State Fullerton, which would be Duke. I think Michigan State and Duke in the next round. Once again, the committee likes to put in these little matchups throughout the years. Duke and Michigan State, Izzo and Krzyzewski have played. And this is...
I think Davis is going to... I think Davis is going to jump in there.
I don't disagree. This is my bracket, sir. You talk about yours in a minute. Your region. We will get into more discussion later. Now, we have, I think, Michigan State pulling off the upset because that's what Izzo does. He does this all the time. And Krzyzewski, bye-bye, your last game. Then we
is he going to shake hands when he loses?
Huh?
Is he going to shake hands when he loses? Is he going to pout?
Mike, I think, will shake hands.
Okay, he didn't shake Hubert's hand the other night.
No, he didn't. Well, sadness.
Chalk it up to
senility. See, now maybe he's old. I don't know what to tell you. Texas Tech plays once again the Rutgers Notre Dame, which for all let me just say, I think it'll be Notre Dame that wins. So I would think Texas Tech will win that game. Then we have Connecticut versus Vermont. I got Connecticut. Gonzaga over Memphis by penny. We move on to the Sweet 16. I would say Gonzaga against Connecticut. Connecticut, dark horse, like I said, but those Zags, man, too big, too strong. Mark Few's got them going on. They go win. Then Texas Tech, Michigan State. I think this was, I think they played a couple years ago in the Final Four, if I'm not mistaken. So this is going to be a slobber knocker of defense, I think. But Texas Tech would win this game, and that'll lead us to the Elite Eight, Gonzaga versus Texas Tech. So I think, Coach, if you want, you got the
I got the Midwest.
Talk to me.
Well, the first matchup is Kansas versus the winner of tonight's play-in game, which was Texas Southern. I've got Kansas winning that game. We've got San Diego State against Creighton. I like San Diego State and their defense from the Mountain West. They've played very well. They're one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in college basketball. I like Iowa against Richmond. I think Richmond backed into the tournament, getting hot at the right time, but I think Iowa will take care of business. Coach McCaffrey will be able to get something going there. I have my first upset here. It's going to be South Dakota State upsetting Providence. I think Providence has had a lot of luck. They've been able to win. Wow. They've done that, but South Dakota State is the number one team offensively in the nation. They play well. Haven't played a great schedule. In fact, it's been a pretty easy schedule, but I do think that they will be able to beat Providence. Providence is not that strong of a 4 seed. Mm-hmm. My next game, I have LSU over Iowa State. I think, again, LSU, the SEC, I'm leaning a lot towards the tougher conferences and coaches. LSU is going through a little bit of turmoil. They did fire their head coach right before the beginning of the tournament. But I was talking to Grizz off air earlier. Michigan won their first national championship under Steve Fisher, under pretty much the same situation. The head coach got fired. Fisher took over. Fisher got them, and they ran the table. So I'm not saying LSU's going to run the table, but I do think that they bind together and they win a couple of games. My next game is Wisconsin against Colgate. I think Wisconsin, Big Ten basketball, they're going to bore you to death, but they're going to win. And the next game is USC against Miami.
Uh-oh.
Tough game.
Uh-oh.
Again, I was talking to Grizz about 10-7 matchups. Miami has the upper hand in three-point shooting, but it's a neutral court. USC is the bigger team. I think the Pac-12 is stronger this year than even the ACC. That says a lot because I think the ACC this year has been horrible. So I'm going to go with USC to win. And I'm going to take Auburn to beat the 15th Jacksonville State. We'll go right there from that bracket. I'm going to take Auburn to beat USC. I think Auburn, again, SEC, will run USC and beat them. I'm going to have an upset with LSU beating Wisconsin.
Ooh.
Like I said, I think they're good for a couple of games. LSU is tough. They were supposed to be better than how they played. They've gone through a lot of turmoil this season. Their head coach was under investigation for paying the players, the whole situation that brought down 2 or 3 other guys. And finally, it brought him down at the end of the season. The next game, I know everybody loves South Dakota State. I am going to stick with Iowa. I like Iowa. I think, again, McCaffrey gets it going. They've been there. Good group of kids. Big Ten basketball. I'm going to take Kansas to beat San Diego State. Again, Kansas has a lot of weapons. I think they'll be able to beat San Diego State. We'll stay right there. Kansas versus Iowa, 1 versus 5. I've got Kansas going on to the next round. I just like Kansas. I think Kansas is at the right time. They're peaking at the right time. They're playing really well. Every game that they played in their conference, they really played very well. We've got Auburn, number 2 against LSU, number 6. I got Auburn moving on to the Elite Eight.
Very nice. Interesting bracket. I like the little upset you had there. All right, so I'm going to take it away here with the South region. Okay, Arizona's the first seed. They're going to play against whoever wins the playing game against Wright State and Bryant. Okay, Arizona, no-brainer there. They're number 1 seed. They've been, rolling downhill all season long. Seton Hall, number 8 Seton Hall against TCU, number 9. I'm going to go with Seton Hall here.
Yes.
Even though they're pretty evenly matched, I'm going to go with the legacy school here.
Good job, Coach. We're going with TCU.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, appreciate that. Next game, number 5 Houston against Alabama, University of Alabama, Birmingham. I'm going to go with Houston here. Again, Houston's got the legacy behind them. I think they play a tougher schedule. They've had some bigger wins this year. I think they overpower them. That's an easy win there. Illinois versus Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm going to go with number 4, Illinois, over 13, Chattanooga.
Oh, the Mocs. I like the Mocs there.
And now we go to my upset here. We got number 6, Colorado State against number 11, Michigan. Okay, Michigan's been through a gauntlet, right? They've been up and down all season long, but they did finish strong with wins against Purdue, Michigan State, and Ohio State to finish out the season. So I think they have some momentum there going into the tournament. Moving down, we have Tennessee versus Longwood. Tennessee, no-brainer there. Ohio State versus Loyola Chicago. All right. Another upset. I'm going with Loyola Chicago. Sister Mary, is that her name?
Sister Mary.
Can't go against that. They got God on their side. Gotta make that happen. Okay? And then Villanova versus Delaware, number 2 seed versus number 15 seed. I'm going to go with Villanova there. Okay? Now, going to the round of 32, we have Arizona versus Seton Hall. I'm going to stay with Arizona here. Okay? Houston versus Illinois, 5 versus 4. I'm actually going to go with Illinois here. I think the gauntlet of the Big Ten helps them out here. I think they've, again, stronger schedule. I know Houston, they've been decent all year long, but going with Illinois here in a 4-5 matchup. Michigan versus Tennessee. This is another interesting game that I circled. Okay, Tennessee is 26-7 on the year versus, again, like I said, Michigan's been up and down all season long. However, I do think that Michigan's going to pull this one out.
Ooh, beautiful.
Why I say this? Because Tennessee lives and dies by the 3, okay? You have a tendency to go be streaky here, okay? Now, they are one of the best defensive teams in the country, but, again, streaky 3-point shooting. I think Michigan has a chance to pull this one out. Yes, I know. You're giving me a sideways look here. All right, moving down. Loyola Chicago versus Villanova. I think Villanova's too much for Loyola Chicago. Okay. Going to the Sweet 16, we have Arizona versus Illinois. I'm going to stay chalk here and go with Arizona. And then the Michigan Wolverines run into a buzzsaw against Villanova, and Villanova wins this one by double digits, 10 points, I'm going to call it. All right, so in my Elite Eight, I got chalk here, 1 versus 2, Arizona versus Villanova. And our esteemed producer, Mr. A to the C, is going to close it up for us with the East region. Take it away.
All right, so I have the East region. I'm going, just a disclaimer, I'm going on gut feeling here. There's no real analysis here. So
Jersey colors.
Here we go. Baylor versus Norfolk State. I got Baylor coming out of that matchup. North Carolina versus Marquette. I got North Carolina coming out of there. St. Mary's versus Wyoming. I got St. Mary's coming out of that. UCLA versus Akron. I got UCLA winning that matchup. Texas versus Virginia Tech. Got Texas coming out there. Purdue versus Yale. Purdue, I'm going with the favorites here. Murray State versus San Francisco. This is my first upset here. San Francisco taking the win there. And Kentucky versus St. Peter's. Easily Kentucky got that win there. In the next round, we got Baylor versus North Carolina. I'm going with an upset here, North Carolina. Then St. Mary's versus UCLA. Got St. Mary's winning that one. Texas versus Purdue. Going with the favorite there, Purdue. And San Francisco versus Kentucky. Kentucky taking that win. Next matchup, next round, North Carolina versus St. Mary's. Gonna keep riding those North Carolina Blues. North Carolina taking that one. Purdue versus Kentucky. Kentucky winning that. And for the Elite Eight, I got North Carolina versus Kentucky. And that should be a great matchup.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. First time on here with a meaningful segment for the Ace. For the Ace Dog.
The man just went, flew by it, direct, got to the point.
To the point.
Forget us filibustering all day.
Coach,
initial analysis on the bracketology.
No, it was good. I mean, I'm a little worried about Aces. I think North Carolina is real. I mean, as much as they're my favorite, they are one of my favorite basketball teams of all time. They're a little sketchy this year, so I don't think that they'll go as far as Ace has them going.
Now, in his defense, you've been a little weary about Baylor after they lost their big man.
No, but again, Baylor. I know that Baylor has had a solid season. You know what I'm trying to say? What I'm alluding to is that North Carolina has just been too helter-skelter, too up and down. They're not.
Hyde.
Their offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency are not in Ken Palm are not where you want them. They're 27th and 60 and in offensive efficiency and 64th on defense. So again, it puts them in a bad position. Usually, and again, I've alluded to Ken Palm a lot. The teams that are in the top 10, top 12 in offensive and defensive efficiency that have a good balance are the teams that you want. North Carolina falls way outside of that grouping.
Heard.
Other than that, I think that the brackets are solid. I'm going to tell you, I've been back and forth with this the last few hours. Really, I'm starting to take a hard look at Villanova. Villanova is becoming a team to me that it's reminding me of the team that won 6 or 7 years ago. I want to say about maybe 8 years ago.
Last second
No,
three.
you're talking about the one against North Carolina.
Against North Carolina, they had great senior leadership at guard.
Did Giacomo?
They
Was that
played-
the
That was-
guy's
They
name?
played good
That was,
defense.
2016 maybe.
They played good defense. So again, about 8 years. They played really, really good defense. And they're right on that cusp. They're number 11 out of the top 12 teams in Ken Palm. So they're balanced offensively and defensively. They're number 8 on offense, number 29 on defense.
And they also have the best dressed head coach in college
So,
basketball.
I mean, I again, and that's just something that over the last, I want to say 5 hours, 6 hours, after filling it out and reading and looking it up, their point guard's been there, I think, for like the last 8 years. I think he played with those guys. That's like
Jay Wright is an incredible coach too.
all his guys are. He's a senior laden team.
And
that's
they've
one
won
of
2
the-
titles under him in the last decade.
That's one of the things I do
He's
look for
definitely-
in this situation when you're talking the brackets. You're looking at teams that are senior led teams that have been here, first time teams, second. Those teams they tend to struggle after
The bright lights.
Man, once they get to the elite, when you get to the Elite Eight, you're like, oh, woof, 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 woof. And then if you get lucky to get to the Final Four, it's you're out the door. So again, that's why I really have. I started, like I said, I've been musing about him now for a few hours. So I may lean away from one of my picks and
You gonna triple stamp you, double stamp you?
yeah, man, I might bubble him in. I really, like I said, I just Gillespie at point guard. I really like that. I like that idea of a senior guard. He's got his backups are seniors, and for whatever reason, I'm leaning towards Villanova at this point. They shoot 3-point well. It's just we'll see. We'll see how I finish it out.
Very interesting.
Your final 2 worlds again, Gil? The ones in the Elite Eight?
In the Elite Eight were Kansas and Auburn.
All right. So we have set Kansas, Auburn, Gonzaga, Texas Tech, Arizona, Villanova, UNC, and Kentucky. Tell me why, guys. Who do we got from North Carolina and Kentucky? If that's the matchup.
Oof. If North Carolina makes it there, I'm still going to take Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean,
You take Kentucky?
I have to.
I think Kentucky.
I'm with you guys.
I think they've gelled. I think Calipari does what he does. Okay.
Speaking of your Villanova team that you're thinking about now, if it happens to be Arizona and Villanova in the Elite Eight, who do we like, guys?
Well, again, I mean, to me, it would be a toss-up. But I am going to lean again. I'm going to lean on coaching. Mm-hmm. I'm going to lean on experience. This Arizona team, this gentleman is a first-year coach. It's his first year coaching the team. So I am going to take Wright and the Villanova.
Okay. Your vote would be that I would be Arizona.
Oof, I mean, I have Arizona there, so.
But you have Arizona, Villanova. Who do you pick out of that? Wow. Remember, it's.
You're going.
Arizona.
It's a group
Arizona. We're gonna go Arizona.
I like it already.
We have valid points.
Sounds great already.
Oh, for your personal bracket, you should be winning everything.
I like it now already.
Well, I'm actually filling it in for us as we speak to submit it because this is our combined bracket.
Of course, this is what we're submitting. Kansas and Auburn.
Kansas and Auburn.
I'm going to put it out there first. I'm going with Auburn because I just love that team, that coach.
I mean,
they had an amazing start to the season.
I got to go with Auburn also.
Couple hiccups, but I think the hiccups happen at the right time, and this is the time when this team is going to shine. How do we feel? You're with it, Frank? Coach?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I know Kansas. I'm not.
I'm going to say something, and again, I do have a ticket for Auburn to win the national championship. Right. But I do feel that Kansas is a team that could derail them.
Okay.
They've got great guard play again. I think Bill Self is also a good coach.
No,
I think it's going to be a phenomenal. I think that
would be an amazing matchup.
I think that game might be an over 160 game.
Yeah.
Because
and honestly, looking at that game from our Elite Eight, that might be my favorite matchup. Maybe.
I mean, they're going to run up and down the court. Both teams are exceptional teams. Both teams are in the top 10 of KenPom. So again, it's a situation where it's
a coin toss for you.
Oh my gosh!
But since we already got Auburn as a majority, you're okay with Auburn.
No, well, I mean I like Kansas.
Wow.
We overruled twice though. All right, Gonzaga and Tech. I have a feeling we have a unanimous decision here.
Yeah, it's Gonzaga. Okay. It's got to. I mean, we can't be against it.
All right. And now we have our Final Four set, right? Which would be
Gonzaga, Kentucky.
Gonzaga versus Kentucky.
And Arizona, Auburn.
Arizona,
chalk. 1-2 versus 1-2. Well, no, not chalk because it would be all chalk. 4 ones.
Exactly. You never want to have all 4 ones. So, all right, guys. Gonzaga and Kentucky. Talk to me.
Wow. That's tough. Okay, so I'm. We look at the history. repeats itself. This is, I don't want to say choke because that game they didn't choke. I'm going to go with Gonzaga. They're a more experienced team. Kentucky's young. In a certain sense, yes, Calipari does what he does. He gets these young, blue chips to gel. But I think Gonzaga, they have a pedigree now. They've been there. They know what this is about. I think it plays into their hands going against an inexperienced team. It's got to be Gonzaga.
Yeah, I definitely would lean Gonzaga here. Mm-hmm. I think, number one, the 7-footer that they have in the middle, the freshman, will change a lot of things for Kentucky. I think their defense, the Gonzaga's defense, is very underrated. Mm-hmm. They're a really good defensive team. I want to say that earlier this season they lost to Duke and to Alabama, and I think they learned from that. Okay, so going into that matchup, I do like Gonzaga to win that matchup.
I do too. The toughness that they've garnered over the year, playing the early schedule that they have, and we've talked about how their conference itself has made itself an upper echelon conference. It's not just Gonzaga and the rest of the guys. There's 2 other teams in the conference that made it. They play them tough. They lost to St. Mary's, I think, like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and then they just beat them for the conference title.
Right.
So I think Gonzaga tested. They got talent like crazy. They've been here already. They've lost in the big game. They've almost tasted it. So I also am going to go with Gonzaga there. So that leaves us with Auburn and Alabama.
Which is a super popular pick.
It is a super popular pick, but guess what happened last year? The 2 most popular teams ended up getting there.
Auburn and
After
Kansas.
all the madness, order gets restored. So Auburn and Arizona, guys, talk to me. I think this is also another fun game now. If this is a matchup,
Coach, I'm gonna let you take this one.
I don't have Arizona in any of my.
No, you don't.
But I don't think they'll win. I think that, again, the experience that Auburn brings to the table will allow them to win that game. I believe that Coach Pearl will, again, have them ready. This will be the second year in a row that they'll be in the Final Four. So I do believe that they'll have a chance to go ahead and punch their ticket to the championship. They are a little young, but they do have a few guys that played on the squad last year. Arizona, on the other hand, like I said, has a new coach, extremely talented team, and they're super young. They start 4 freshmen and a sophomore, so I think that's gonna play a huge part if those 2 were to meet in the Final Four. So I would go with Auburn.
I really like Arizona too, having them in the final and a bunch of my other brackets, but I think for this particular bracket, I think in consensus, I think I'm going to go with Auburn also. Based on that, I think the bright lights, if they end up, the freshmen, I think the bright lights will hit them in this game. If they happen to make it to the finals, I don't feel that would hinder them as much, but I think in the semifinal portion, if they play a team like Auburn, that'll come through, and I think Auburn moves on. That would leave us. Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
No. I mean, I was going to be pretty much the same points. That Arizona's super young, okay? But I think the comeback win over UCLA in the Pac-12 championship kind of galvanizes them, right? It tells them...
And I'm going to say this before you say
different
that.
Lights.
Last year, like you said, Pac-12 was one of the worst teams throughout the year last year. But when it came down to it in the tournament, I think they got 3 out of the top 8 to make it. So it's, once again, overall, the league, it toughens you, but there's also the top teams in those certain leagues are still the top teams for a reason. So.
Yeah, no, listen, like I said, Arizona, super young, but I think the comeback win galvanizes them in the Pac-12 championship, so they have some momentum there, whereas Auburn... you can look at it from the perspective of their unexpected loss in the first round of the SEC championship kind of resets them and says, we have something to prove here. Don't count us out. They're more experienced. Right? Like you said, the sweat commander himself, Bruce Pearl, okay? And it led them to their best season in program history. And I think where the youth of Arizona will show versus Auburn is in the front court, right? They're one of the best teams protecting the rim. So I think young teams can struggle with that if, they're not necessary, if their shot's not dropping necessarily. So love Arizona, but I got to go with the consensus here and go with Auburn.
All right. And Ace, you're good with that? So Auburn and Gonzaga. And I think this is another consensus, maybe. I don't know. I'm speaking out of turn. But if it's Gonzaga against Auburn, I'm going Gonzaga all day.
I'm going with Gonzaga as well.
Auburn has gone as far as they could have gone.
As much as it hurts me for Bruce Pearl, I think Mark Few deserves it. Yeah. I think that program deserves it because they've come all the way up from a mid-major to be a Power 5 program.
Yep.
Yeah. And they don't shy away from anyone.
They will have finally burst that bubble that they've been trying for over 20 years.
Out of solidarity, I'm going Gonzaga as well.
Yeah.
I think they've been knocking on the door long enough.
I mean, at the end of the day, our final pick is probably 80% of America.
The chalk is 95% of the people are taking them.
But sometimes the road to get there is what's the more fun. And we'll see if we end up getting some of those picks right. But I don't know. I think our final four looks pretty decent to me. But if it helps out,
I've got a couple other changes.
I know.
But hey, that's
if it helps out rearranging the thoughts for someone else's personal bracket and leads them to a victory, then our bracket has done its job. But maybe it finds out that our collective minds together is an unstoppable force. Also, who knows?
Now, in our unstoppable bracket,
especially with the producers bracket was impressive.
In our unstoppable force bracket of integrity situation here, what's our tiebreaker, fellas? In case we end up...
Score?
Oh, the score? It'll be a high-scoring game.
That would be,
I would say in the 80s.
Yes.
I'm good with 85-81.
Most definitely.
Ooh, 85-81.
85-81.
Yeah, you're looking at two teams with
They like to run.
With over 70 and above tempos.
Yeah.
Which is number 4 in the country.
I think
Gonzaga. And Auburn is 40th. So
Gonzaga's had 100 points a bunch of times.
They're the two of the fastest teams in the country.
Yep.
Are we submitting, gentlemen? Are we making this official?
You have everything?
Oh, everything's ready to rock.
Yeah. Like I said, we just put it on 5.
Our bracket of integrity is officially submitted to ESPN Tournament Challenge.
No, put that in the poker group.
Oh, that too.
Yep.
But follow us, 2 Coaches, 1 Grizz.
Absolutely.
All right, follow us, keep us right, call us out where we were right, where we were wrong on this situation.
Friggin' ace.
Everyone, I'll send it to Noah's.
Ace with that North Carolina call. We'll see how that works out.
So, all right, gentlemen, I think we're done. I think we're done for today. All right.
Yeah. Hopefully, you guys out there, if you hear this, hopefully your brackets aren't busted early. You have at least. I say having it till Sunday, is willing to be the break point. It's hard to get through to the Sweet 16 perfect. That'd be amazing.
Oh my gosh!
But as long as you can survive to Sunday and feel like you have a chance, that makes those next 4 days, which is going to be amazing. I got a buddy going to Vegas this weekend for a bachelor party. Shout out to my buddy Marcos, man. He's having an amazing trip going on Thursday and Friday just to be right there at the sports book. In a casino in Las Vegas for March Madness. I hear it is.
Tell them to go to the Circa.
I hear it's Super Bowl for these
Circa
people.
is beautiful. Circa is beautiful out there.
I'll definitely let them know. But man, I this is one of my favorite times of the years, man. Can't tell you how many times I called in sick from school and work.
And there's automatic banter for next week.
All I have to say is that towards the end of this week, I'll have my TV running.
Yep.
And I'll be doing my job. While the 12 o'clock games.
Where is that going to be?
We're doing my job.
Oh,
don't worry about that.
And where's the TV?
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
In my office. It's in my office.
In your
Listen,
office?
they know. They know the rules, brother.
Hey.
They know thankfully, they know the rules.
Once we get to noon, you shut it down.
That's it. Listen, and if I don't, it's there. We just minimize, continue, we put it back up, and we keep watching.
There you go. That's what I like to hear.
Listen, I do want to give a
man of service.
I want to give a shout out to our first sponsor, General Carnitas Gourmet Meats. Please make sure you look them up on the internet. Go through the website, pick out a few things, and give them an order.
Try us out.
Try them out.
Tell them the coaches sent you.
Tell them 2 coaches, 1 Grizz sent you.
2 coaches, 1 Grizz. Out.